want to bring in, we have an eyewitness to the shooting who is on the phone with us, Radon Deshane. Radon, thank you very much for being willing to call in and tell us what you saw here. Can you walk us through where you were, what you saw, what you heard this afternoon?
Yeah, so I was right up front. So there's a tent for Charlie and his security and whatnot and his hats. And then there was like two guardrails with a walkway between the two guardrails for the people that were going to go up and do their prove me wrong debate. And then I was right up against if I was looking at Charlie, I was off to the right center, right against the grate. And he was just on his second interview, and it was about gun control. It was a whole new transgender issue where they're talking about, maybe taking away their rights or whatnot. I'm not sure all about that. But all of a sudden I heard just one pop, saw Charlie all of a sudden fall, his head kind of fell back, and blood was just gushing out of his neck. And then at that point I kind of turned my head to look uphill because it felt like it came from up behind me. And then I saw everybody dropping, so I dropped down. And then the next thing you know, they said, run. So we all took off running. So I didn't see the arrest or anything like that.
What can you tell us about kind of the mood of the event up until this point? I mean, our John Miller was just reporting that this had been apparently somewhat controversial, but clearly it had drawn a significant crowd.
Yeah, we were all having a good time. I was talking to some of the college kids around me. I'm in my 50s, so it's kind of fun to hear the younger kids' point of views with different things. And so I was just kind of talking with them. We were doing chants, USA, Charlie Kirk, things like that. We were listening to some Queen and some Bon Jovi. Just having a good old time.
Radon, did you see any of the aftermath in terms of emergency first responders coming? Are reporting now that Charlie Kirk is in the hospital.
Okay, I'm worried about him because it looked really bad. Yeah, there was already some cops on scene, and he had security. I'm sure he had other people too that were not sure what their roles were. But as I was leaving, even running to my car, well, I briskly walked. But there was a bunch of emergency vehicles still coming in, even as I was leaving.
Radon, can you tell us a little bit about the security measures that were in place? You obviously were able to get very close to Charlie Kirk here. Did you have to go through a metal detector or anything like that?
Nope. There was none. They didn't even ask for tickets.
So this was an open event where you were able to walk up without having a ticket checked, without having your bag searched or anything along those lines?
Yep, exactly.
All right. And is there anything else, Radon, that you noticed, that you felt at this event that you think we all should know about?
I just feel that, for these type of things, they need to have better security. They need to check bags. They need to have metal detectors. And that felt off when I went there.
Did you mentioned that there were some police officers on scene. Did you notice any security measures around Charlie Kirk beyond that, or did it stand out to you at all before this happened?
Yeah, he had so I think it was probably his own security and maybe some campus security. I'm not sure who belonged to who.
Fair enough.
But,
all right.
I don't know how many and where they were all located. I mean, these were just the ones I kind of saw up in my front area.
No, of course. All right. Radon Deshane, Radon, I'm sure this was very difficult to witness. And of course, as you note, we're all worried about the condition of Charlie Kirk at this point. I want to thank you very much for bringing the information that you saw to our audience. I want to bring into this conversation our Scott Jennings, because Scott, I understand you spoke with Charlie Kirk fairly recently, actually. And this is, someone that's very close to a lot of the people who are around President Trump. This is someone, he's got two young kids. Can you talk a little bit about Charlie Kirk, the person, what you kind of understand him to be, and help our audience who may not be familiar with him understand why he matters.
Yeah, I did see Charlie a couple of weeks ago. He invited me to Turning Point USA, that's his organization, an event for some of their supporters in Colorado. And I went and we did a conversation. And Charlie, to many people on the right, especially a lot of young people, represents a resurgence and a rebirth of being a conservative and a young person at the same time. You know, we went through an era where, you know, a lot of young people who felt conservative or had conservative values felt alone and felt like, you know, they couldn't be public about it. And Charlie shows up and starts to organize young people, and he starts to speak out, and he becomes this inspiration for a whole generation of young conservatives. And his organization starts to build. He has these chapters on college campuses. They have recently expanded into having chapters in high schools. They have a robust and growing high school network as well. To all these young conservatives, Charlie's their guy. And Charlie bridges that gap between the older politicians and the older sort of hierarchy of our official politics and the younger, excited, grassroots conservatives that are just getting into it. Now, Charlie and I work together. He's on the Salem radio network. He has the radio show that's on from noon to 2 each day. I'm on from 2 to 3, so I had just come on to do my show, and about halfway through it, we got the news that Charlie had been shot. And so I had to talk through it this afternoon. And I'll be honest with you, I am in utter disbelief at this. I sat in this room last summer, the night they shot the president, and now they shot Charlie. And I'm not sure it's safe to be an outspoken conservative walking around in America right now. And there's a lot of people out there who are in absolute shock and are horrified by this. And I don't know what's going to happen other than to tell you that this nation is in desperate need of prayer and some kind of an intervention, because when you can't, I mean, what was Charlie doing? Making a speech, engaging in rhetoric, having a debate. That's the bedrock of our nation. And now you can't go out in public and engage in speech. It's the opposite of violence. Speech is the opposite. And so I don't know what's going to happen to Charlie. All I can really think about is his poor wife and those 2 babies. And so I think the best thing any of us can do right now is just pray for his recovery and pray for their comfort, because God help us, we're in a bad place.
You mentioned that what he was doing at this event was speaking, and we actually do have video of what Charlie Kirk was saying right before this moment. And again, we do have to warn you that this footage is disturbing, not because of anything that was said, but because we will freeze it at the end, because that is the moment when a shot that was fired hits Charlie Kirk. So let's watch a little bit of the conversation that he was having right as this unfolded. Let's take a look.
Yeah, is that fair to say? All right, great. So do you know how many transgender Americans have been mass shooters over the last 10 years?
Too many.
Okay. It's 5. Okay, now 5 is a lot, right? I'm gonna give you some credit. Do you know how many mass shooters there have been in America over the last 10 years?
Counting or not counting gang violence?
Great.
Get down. What the
All right, so again, very disturbing, those moments there. And Max Rose, your former congressman from New York, a Democrat, veteran, you were listening to what Scott said just there. What is your reaction to what we've seen unfold today?
You know, politics is so deeply emotional and personal today. And my heart really goes out to Scott, you and everyone else in your movement who works so closely with him, because there's nothing like being in the political trenches to forge incredible bonds. And I just can't imagine the pain that everyone is going through. I would urge us, particularly in a moment like this, to both not make this political and also to not jump to conclusions. We're not aware of the political affiliation of the shooter either. We have no idea what's going on right now. And so perhaps the only slight change I would make to what you said or suggestion is that I fear for anyone who's outspoken today for their safety, for how vitriolic the world is becoming. What I would just say from a purely analytical standpoint of that horrific video is that whoever the shooter was had an opportunity to undertake a mass shooting there and did not. Fired only one shot.
Been fighting so long and so hard that they don't know what the they're doing.